pull a dollar bill out of your pocket right now and ask yourself something you have probably never asked. Why is this thing green? And why does it look almost identical to every other bill in your wallet? No matter the denomination, almost every other country on Earth uses different colors and different sizes for different amounts of money, so their citizens can tell them apart at a glance. The United States does not. And the reason has nothing to do with tradition or national identity. It comes down to a Civil War printing crisis, a monopoly on one specific ink, a series of counterfeiting disasters, and a legal battle over blind Americans that the government quietly lost. By the time this is over, you will never hold a dollar the same way again. It starts in the 1860s. Before the Civil War, banks printed their own money. Hundreds of different banks, hundreds of different bills, almost no standardization at all. When the federal government needed to fund the war, it stepped in and started printing a national currency for the first time. The problem was scale. They needed to produce enormous quantities of bills fast, and the printing technology of the time could only handle one color at a reasonable cost and speed. That color happened to be green. But here is what most people never hear. The green ink was not just a convenience. The government chose it partly because the green dye of that era was extraordinarily resistant to a specific kind of fraud that was exploding at the time. Criminals had figured out how to photograph bills and produce convincing forgeries using early camera technology. Those early cameras could only capture images in shades of light and dark. Green photographed as a near-uniform dark blur, which made the fine details of the bill disappear completely in any copied image. The color was functioning as an anti-counterfeiting technology hiding in plain sight, and if that kind of engineering quietly baked into everyday objects is what gets you, subscribing takes 1 second and puts more of it in your feed every day. Now, why did the sizing never change either? Other countries resize their bills, so a 10 looks physically different from a 100. The United States kept everything the same size through most of its history, and the official reasoning was manufacturing efficiency, one size of paper, one set of presses, lower cost. But the real pressure to change came much later, and from a direction the Treasury Department never anticipated. In 2002, a non-profit organization representing blind Americans sued the federal government. Their argument was straightforward. A blind person in the United States cannot tell a $1 bill from a $50 bill without asking a sighted person for help. Every other major currency in the world had solved this problem through size differences or raised tactile markings. American currency had not. A federal appeals court ruled in 2008 that the current design violated the Rehabilitation Act, which prohibits federally funded programs from discriminating on the basis of disability. The government appealed all the way to the Supreme Court and lost. The response was a series of changes that most people walk around with in their pockets without realizing. Modern American bills now have large, high-contrast numerals, and the $100 bill introduced in 2013 includes a textured surface meant to be detectable by touch. The changes were modest compared to what advocates wanted, but they were the first time in roughly 150 years that accessibility had forced a meaningful redesign of American currency. And the green never left. Newer bills add color shifts and background tints, but the dominant visual identity stayed because changing it would require replacing billions of bills in circulation and retraining an entire population. The cost of that transition was always calculated as higher than the benefit. What is quietly remarkable about all of this is that the dollar bill you carry today is the direct physical descendant of a wartime emergency decision made in the 1860s. The green was a battlefield solution. The standardized size was a cost-cutting measure. The small tactile adjustments were a legal defeat. None of it was designed. All of it was accumulated. That is actually how most of the objects you use every day were shaped not by vision, but by crisis, compromise, and the slow pressure of time. Every bill in your wallet is a short history of the country that printed it, and the wildest part is that most people carry that history around every single day without ever once wondering where it came from. So, if you want to keep finding that kind of hidden story folded into ordinary things, subscribing is the fastest decision you will make today.